Welcome everybody. This is today's Lunch and Learn. I'll be your host, Jared. If you have any question, feel free to pop it in the chat and I can help you answer it as best I can. And I can also put you off mute. Let's see, I have a record of a data type defined by a database table definition. How do I change one field in that record? I'm not updating the database at all, just a record in memory. I'm gonna allow you to talk, Andy, if you can give me some more detail on that one.
Well, I mean,
The
not that
database
much.
table definition. I can't hear you if you're talking. There you go.
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Took a little time. Okay, so I mean, I have we interface with an Oracle database with a couple of tables, and for each table we interface with, you got to have a database table definition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you create those, you got the family of 8 steps, and then you have the predefined type, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say I bring in a couple of records from the table from a get all or some query or whatever. Anyway, I have a I have a record. I have in memory. Let's say I go down the list of whatever the get all came back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go down the list. I'm in a for each loop now. I'm going through that list. And so each item in the for each loop is of the predefined type for that table.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say in that loop, for whatever reason, I want to be able to change one field in that type. How do I do that?
One field in that type, and then just save that one change into that table.
Right.
So a couple ways you can do it. One is if you know what the value is that you want to. It's like table keys. Where's the ID? Oh, cool. Already did it for me. Yeah, save. All right, cool. So what you can do. So I think once this thing loads, I can demonstrate it, but I'll talk you through it. So what you can do is, if you know what the value is you want to change it to, you can just add a create data step after that with the constant define data, and then you want to change it to, and then you hit change value on that, and then you'll probably need some type of step to like batch insert or to save that record with that new value, and then it will overwrite it.
I tried create data.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. There's no way to put it into just one field of a complex type. I couldn't find that at all.
One
You
field
can only
complex type.
right. I can create an entire record
Sure.
of that type, but I can't just take an existing record and just change one field of it.
Let's take a look. All right, so I got my database integration. Let's see, where is it? Not the connection string. I think it's an integration. I always forget which one it is. Database. Let's see. I have a local connection. Sure. There we go. I got this one. And so let's say I have, so you're using the get all. And then what's the value we have?
I mean, I know the value. It's going to be auditing field, so it's going to be the current user and the current date time, and I know how to get those.
Sure. Let me just only get 100 records out of here. So do you have a defined type, or are you using this default table definition thing?
I have no idea what you asked.
So I think in the question you said you're doing the table definition, right? Database table definition is what you have in this thing. My question was, are you utilizing this table definition, or do you have the return data set to like grab a type?
I just loop. I don't know what you're saying. I just loop through what this result.
Okay, gotcha. So you're just doing this for each.
Yeah.
And we shall take a look. Man, I don't know why my system's. Oh, actually, I know why. Let me turn off Hyper-V. Let me turn off some servers that I no longer use anymore. And it will speed up my process. Turn off.
The for each.
Got it. That should be faster. Wow, that's so much better. All right, cool. So we got done.
Wait a minute. What did you turn off to do that? Because every single thing I do in decisions is ridiculously slow.
Oh, I know for
Even
mine, I was running 2 Hyper-V servers because I was doing a repo demonstration. So I had 2,
oh,
yeah, it was something very
oh.
unique to me.
All right, well, it's a whole new thing. But for example, even if I'm just in Decision Studio and I click on a folder and the
Mm-hmm.
folder has maybe a dozen or 2 items, it takes
Mm-hmm.
a good like 10, 15 seconds to display.
Mm,
And I have one with 102 items in it. It
sure,
takes like 30 or 35 seconds to display.
gotcha.
It's
That'd
a
be something.
whole, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that'd
No,
be
we
something to
haven't,
test with the profiler, maybe.
well, so they say, but I mean, I don't know. We got a ticket on it. It's been happening ever since we got this product, and it's local only to me and another colleague.
Interesting. Okay. Oops. All right. I want to see what the data of this. Here's going to be a good question. All right. So we got our item.
Yeah.
All right. So it
Now,
looks like this.
okay, so I want to change only, let's say, the modified date.
Sure, sure. Or anything in particular.
Yeah.
Let's do, sure, we can do modified date. So modified date on this one, we'll use the first record. Da-da. Mod date. So what we'll
Wait a
do,
minute. What did you just do? You got to slow down for me. I have no idea what you just did.
sure. So I have a create data step right here. And all I did is I just created a variable, called it mod date, and then set the date time. Depending on your version, you can do show editor, and that displays that information for you. And then you can set that. So that's all that I did there.
Okay.
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 All right. And then what I did is now I'm trying to figure out, okay, so I have this mod date right here, right?
Yeah.
So what I can do is I can look, I know I have the item as the local connection thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's say, I mean, let's just make it for all of them. Let's see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my create data step, and I have this output mapping thing.
Yeah.
And I can edit the output mapping. And then what I can do is I can expand the item, and then I have access to all the properties of it. And then what I do is on the output mapping perspective, I can select from flow or draw a line from the mod date and change value. So what this is saying is as my process runs, it says, sure, I'll get all the data, I'll loop through it.
my
And then on the output of the create data step, say, change the value of the item to be modified date to be whatever you set it to in here. Now this thing only won't save it. All this does is if I run this, it's just
fine.
gonna, yeah. But if you have like a
Because at
set it,
the end,
save it, yeah.
right, because at the end of all this, I have a done.
Mhm.
And okay, so at the end of all this, what I really want to do is to take each item that I have to change and add it to a new list, because those are the only ones that are really going to change, right?
Correct. You got it. Yep.
And then right, so I add it to the list, but then in the item that I just added to the list, I need to change the modification date. Then I add it to the list, and when it comes out, I have my new list of just, several records to update, and then I apply the update.
Yep. You
Okay.
got it.
All right. I got another one for you.
Sure. Go right ahead.
That was terrific. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right. Let's say I have 2 records
Mhm.
of this predefined data type. Is there a step that tells me that every single field in these 2 records are equal or not?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I tried objects are equal, but that didn't do it.
Yeah, because the ID is gonna be different, so it always return false, I think. So okay.
Or alternately, is there some kind of for each looper which will loop through each element of each field of a data type?
Yeah, so I'm not. So I'll put a caveat on this. I'm not sure how performant this is, but you can do it. So here's what you can do. Let me erase this. Or actually,
Okay.
let me. I needed that fetch entities come back. Okay. So like, let's say, for example, I need to compare 2 records, right? It's exactly what you said. Now, what you can do is there is this everything that runs in decisions. Like if I debug this and I look at the output, essentially what this is just a JSON data structure. That's all this is,
Yeah.
right? right? All right, so cool, we got that. So what that means here is there is a way that you can say, all right, I want to, where is this? It's like a JSON, what is it? Get path. Yeah, we will be utilizing this. I don't think we'll be utilizing this one. I always have to find, I've done this a couple times. Data, JSON, and let's see, get array from JSON by name. Nope, that's not what it is. Get properties, get JSON path from value. Let's see, where is it? JSON text, that's what that is. There is one. Hold on, let me stumble around and find it. I've seen this before and I've used it. Advanced. There it is. It's in the wrong. You can get property names on the object. So like if you know that you're going to be grabbing a certain object, right? And let's say maybe that object changes dynamically, right? You can pass in I'll just do this as a create data. And I'm gonna set this apart so we can talk through this. So what this allows us to do is I'm gonna set up my, I'll choose the accounts table. So my account, and I can grab my account right here. Boom. And then what you can do is I can pass this, select from flow, grab that account object. And I think you do need to instantiate it, put some random data into it. It doesn't really need to be, I'll just use this one. It doesn't need necessarily to have all the information. It just needs an object that's not null. Because what this does is as soon as you run it, when I go output this, it will grab all of the properties as a string, which is great.
Okay.
Right. And so now as I sense that you're kind of seeing where we're going. And so now what I can do is with that output, I can for each those property names.
Okay.
For each property, and then I grab, it's just gonna be a list of text, right? And then the other step you can utilize is, let's see, it's in, where was it? It's not, it was in data advanced. And then you can say it's, I think it was a get property on object. I don't think so. There was one, I think it was in JSON. It was like get JSON from path, from value. No, because it's a string. And then there's another one that you can basically say, get value. It's not really JSON text. Is it name? Because that's the name, that's a text. I don't think you could serialize it. So basically what this will allow you to do is you can then compare. Let me see, get string to value, get property. Target object. Let's see if it's this one. So if I loop through this, right? So then my property path, I'm just going to use the object that I've instantiated because I'm just trying to test to see what value this will get. And then I want to select profit. And then I'm just going to select the item because that will be the path for right now. Let's see. This will probably blow up. I think it won't. Oh, it actually worked. Input output. And so now what you can see is it'll output the property. Nope, that's not what I want because I don't want the property path. I want the value. Get property. Yeah, that's the wrong one. Get string, get property, get type, get property names and object. There is a JSON step that allows you to get the value. I think it should be this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So we can grab this. And then if I say the name, which will be the property item, and then I think you might have to do, that's an account. If I serialize it, let me serialize it.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, that's what's like. I wouldn't really, I don't know how performant this would be. But if you have it serialized in a JSON account, and then we grab that information.
Can I, you know what, can I just make a suggestion?
Sure.
Unfortunately, I don't have a great deal of time. Couple of suggestions. First of all, there should be some sort of step that says, I mean, I want to say objects are equal, but by that I would mean, is each element of the object equal from one to the other?
Mhm.
I don't know what you'd call it, you know, elements are equal,
Sure.
that kind of thing. right? So you can take any complex type, whether it's a
Mhm.
defined table type or some predefined type or whatever other kind of type, something beyond a simple type like an integer or a date or a decimal or whatever.
Yeah.
That just goes down the elements of two objects of the same type and returns a Boolean that tells you they're all equal or not, or whatever. I mean, this is,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a couple.
Hmm.
Yeah. You need like a couple of steps to do that. I'm trying
Okay.
to think if there's any other way to do
And
that.
then the other suggestion is this, I just saw you do this several times over. You know how you can drag you can drag a step from the toolbox on the left. And if you
Mhm.
want to drop it in between two steps in your flow, you drag it to the line, the connector line, and wait for the four icons to appear, and you can drop it right on the plus sign.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Then Okay, you should be able to do the same thing with the outcome arrows. So for example, if you drag a step and drop it on either done or failed,
Mhm.
it should add it, and it doesn't. Right. You see how you just did that?
Yeah.
Okay, but try to drop it, this step in here that says get all from DBO entity folder. You've got done and failed.
Talking about after it's already on the canvas.
Yeah, I'm just saying you
Oh, I
should
see.
be
I
able
see.
to drag a step and drop it on one of those orange circles.
Gotcha. So it should be. I see what you're saying. You want it to be like after we've already placed the step. Anytime you do it there. That's a cool suggestion. I'm with you.
Right, because now what you have to do is drag the steps somewhere onto the flow and then use
Disconnect.
and
Yeah.
then connect them up. So it would just save a click and drag. That's all.
Mm.
All right. I kind of see where you're going. You got to get the JSON property names and then use the what is that?
I was just looking at some compare. I was just seeing if there's any because I know
Compare
compared to
two
objects,
objects.
yeah, we've tried that. You said that one doesn't work, right?
No. I haven't tried that one.
Oh, you tried the
I
object is
tried
null one. Or no.
object. No. Objects are equal.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I
Okay.
see. So you tried this one. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Set
Yeah.
item what is
Now what's
null.
that one?
I don't know. Let's
Is that
try it.
one do what I want?
Let's find out. We got some time. I'm gonna move this off the screen. I'll try to make this quick because I know you're probably short on time. So let's compare. I'm just gonna create. I'm gonna use this create data step, and we'll see if this works. So if I do this, I'm gonna add another one. So this would be account 2. And account data type. We'll make these constant. We'll make them the same, and then we'll make them different. So different. So this will be different. And then we'll do select from flow account, and then we'll do select from flow account 2 here. And then let's see what path these things traverse. Over here, and we'll put this up here, and we'll put this up here. All right, cool. So let's see. So I'm thinking it should, let's see what happens.
Done, but
I just don't know what this means. It just looks like it puts, okay, so it looks like it just puts it in an output where you can easily look at the difference. So I don't know if this really accomplishes what you're looking for. Those are dots.
what is this telling me? Wait a minute.
Ah,
In email address, it shows the two different email addresses, and in home folder ID, I'm sure that's different. Yeah,
Yep.
they're different. So it shows you the differences,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're not different, it shows you space dash greater than space.
Yep. Let's
Is
see if
that what I'm
they're,
looking at?
yep. Using a comparison utility.
I gotta look at that.
Yeah. May be helpful, may not, because then you could
Oh, I
combine
think it's
this with.
very helpful because what I'm having
Mhm.
to do is to write up a flow that has to go field by field and say, is this equal to that? Is this equal to that? Is this equal to that? And if it's a date field, what I have to do, no, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
What I do is it goes field by field, and I have to know the data structure. And if it's a date, I have to convert it to a string.
Mhm.
And then if it's a decimal, well, I'll use unformatted or whatever. But
Sure.
but then what I'll do is I'll assemble them, with I'll join them with, let's say, a tilde in between, and I do that with both the records, and then I say, is this string equal to that string? So
Mhm.
that's kind of a long, laborious way to do it.
Yep.
This would seem like a faster and a more general way to do it. So now I would go down. Ay. Now what would I do?
Mhm.
What would I do? Now I'm back to trying to loop through the properties name by name,
Yeah, the data
right?
parent value. Yeah, because that's what it outputs. Yeah. Which,
Okay.
yeah, I guess maybe might have to test out. Might make it faster. I think it is a little less step configuration than the first method I was proposing. So maybe a net add there. But then you just have to deal with the data pair and the name values. All right. I also put a link to the example lab object if you want to take a look at that one. And it gives a little more detail about it
Where was that?
in the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay. You so both you and Robert put that. All right. Well,
Yep.
I'm just gonna put this. All right. Yeah. All right, I'll take a look at these, and I'll take a look at the JSON properties and getting the values from them too.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to me there's something I can do. All right, I really got to run, unfortunately, but
Sounds good.
thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Okay, Manel asked, hello, when something says last modified by system, who actually is the system? We have audits on workflows and needed to know how do we determine who modified the flow. So I'm sensing two different questions here. Let me allow you permission to talk, Mel. I can answer the first one. The first one, system just means that anytime you run a process. So let me create another flow and kind of explain what system is. System is an actual account. Let's see, this is demo, the system user. So the system user is an actual account on the system. Oops, I can't spell local. Is an actual account on the system, and all its function is whenever there is a process. So like let's say you use an end form step where you change the execution of the flow from the user to the system, so that decisions can independently run that process without having to have the user session maintained throughout. So a great example of this is, let's say, you create like a bank automatic teller application, and there's let's say, you have to withdraw money from an account, and there's all the forms you have to click on, and there's a certain part of the process where it says, hey, funds will be withdrawn from your account. You'll notice it in, X amount of days or whatever, right? At that point, it switches over to the system and then does the transaction that it needs. That's an example of, in real life, what a system user does. It basically says, I'll do the work so that the user session doesn't have to be there the entire time. And decisions does that via we'll switch the user context from the end form step. So when you use an end form session, or when you use a picker create end form, it will change the system context to that. So, but then the other thing is you have to figure out who modified the flow, which that's a different thing, which wouldn't be tied to that. So could you give a little more background on your question?
Hello, Jared. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, so I have two rules, and they say they were last modified by system. So I
Mhm.
can see like who modified them before that, but I just need to know. So after that date, 5/7, unfortunately, we started having some issues, and that's the
Mhm.
only thing I see that the two rules. Do you know, is that common that the rules can just be updated?
So like, what do you mean by into the rule designer and
It's just like a form rule that it's like by itself. It's a, what is it called? It's
active
just a
farm flow?
regular, yeah, it's just a regular statement rule. That's the only thing looks like it was updated by system.
Regular statement rule.
Yeah,
Let me
I've
update
never
it by
seen that.
trying to see, let me look at that. Edit advanced. I don't want to compare, show preview. Nope, I don't want to show preview. I want. So owner, and that's what I want to see, entity details. So it's like over here,
Mhm.
modify, this says system.
Yes.
Is
So
there any,
it's-
is there any part of your process where like you edit a rule or something like that?
This is an independent rule by itself.
Right, but is it like an external truth table where like you can have the system run and like, oh, it doesn't have this record, it automatically writes it, and then it might say system modified it.
Mm,
Is there any of that?
no, there's not that anything in there.
Okay. 'Cause that's the only thing I could think of that would change it to the system context is it's either one of these two things. It's either you have an end form somewhere,
Mhm.
or a pick or create form, or something where end form session, or something where it changes the system context to something different, and that's why the modified date will just be modified by system. So like a great example, let's see, I think I can create an example. I think this will do it. Let me see. I used to have this application. I don't have it. Let me demonstrate it.
Mhm.
Let's see, downloads. I want the business. Where is it? I might be able to, I think I can demonstrate real quick. All right, so like there are some flows, like I can use it to create other designer elements, like test flow to create other flows. Right? And then I go to configuration storage, all that cool stuff, and I can have a flow create other flows, right? And I believe
Mhm.
if I do this configuration storage, C, configuration storage, and then I say create a flow, right? All I need is a folder ID and a name. And if I do this and I say this is for manual created by admin, and let me just pick a folder ID. We'll add this to the database or the flows folder right here. Okay, folder ID done. Put this here. All right, cool. So now we got this created by admin. All right, and then I debug this. Creates it. Now if I go to see the entity details of that, let me go test create. I'll go back here. Let me see the entity details. This would say created by admin, right? As expected, modified by admin, boom. But maybe this won't do it, but let's see. So if I do a end form, where it's like, let's say I have a process where it's like, let me show a form. And I pick existing, create a form. And I'm just gonna create a simple form and say name that flow. And it's just gonna have a text box, that's all we need. And it's gonna be flow name. And I'm gonna put a button because we like buttons. We like to push buttons. And then what I do, let's say I have an end form, all right, that I add, pick or create end form. So I'm create an end form, pick existing, create a new, and it'd be like, we did a thing, is what we'll call it. We'll add a label, and then we'll text from data name. It'll be very small because we don't need it to illustrate. Oh, I didn't give the data name, data MSG. And then I can say this is, was it flow name created by system. And I believe now when we run this, I debug, I'm gonna say, this is another flow that I believe was created by the system test thing. That's a little too long. Flow slow. Flow created by system test. And so if I run this, we'll get that. And sure, that message would have popped up. Now let's go ahead and go back here. And so, oh, oops. That's why it's got double. I'd still be fine. If if I go to see entity details, I think this would say still created by admin. That's the second one. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this one. And I'm gonna go ahead. Let's just run this flow. No, it's not what I wanted. Darn it. I didn't do the thing that I wanted. Hold on 1 second. I keep forgetting to change the input mapping. Test flow to create other flows. Oh, I have it open. That's right. I do have it open. So select from flow, flow name. Save this. I'm going to get out of this. So now it should be different. So now if I run this flow, say flow created by system, maybe? Question mark. Done. There we go. Flow created by system. And then if I see the entity details, will it say system? So it doesn't say system. It still says admindecisions.com. I'm not sure. That would be something I would say we can submit a support ticket on your behalf. I think we'd have to actually take a look at it and see what's causing that to change. I'm not sure if there's like a scheduled job or something that like updates it or something that changes that nearby the system.
Okay, and system is just a decision's its own thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Do
Gotcha.
you know if someone's like logging in as this account?
No.
Okay, just
There's
making
only
sure.
3 people, yeah. It's just so funny because it's only with these 2 rules and it came on 5.7, which is pretty recent. So that's why I
Mhm.
was curious, like, because audit always like comes on us whenever they see something that gets updated, and they're like, "Who's the system?" And I was like, "I don't know actually."
Oh, so did an update happen?
Um,
Because
it,
that might have caused it.
oh, like an update, like we updated a version.
Yeah, if you update it to a different version, I could see why, like, if it had to add, if it,
Mm-mm.
last one was modified, maybe different. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we didn't had any update, but I'll go ahead and submit a support ticket for that. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, because they'd be able to, like, share, you can share your screen with them. And I think that's what we need to do is, like, take a look and poke around and see what process is causing it, because that's probably what it is.
Got it. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. I will do that. Appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. Anytime. All right. Any other questions? Jeremy, if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. All right, I see no more questions, so we'll go ahead and end this lunch and learn so we can get this recording updated. Thank you so much for attending. Tomorrow's lunch and learn will be hosted by Greg. So please join up for that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.